Good morning. Welcome to a special Saturday morning stream. I don't think I've ever streamed this early in the morning before. Oh wait, I have to turn off my volume. Yeah, that would help. Hey, so now I don't have an echo. I was watching back through some of videos of some friends of mine. So I don't think I've ever streamed this early in the morning. It is 9 a.m. here where I live. Yeah, so binding. No, I have a lot to do today, so that's why I'm like, I want to get a stream in, so it's got to be in the morning. So we're going to be doing binding today. So I'm going to show you a couple of different techniques, things that I do. And I put all my binding on with the sewing machine. And I've got a nice cup of tea that I've made so I can get some more caffeine into me. You notice I do not have the same machine. Oh, and it would help if I actually would put thread in there, wouldn't it? I don't have the same machine as I did for all of my quilting. This is because the quilting machine that I use, which is the Innovus QC1000, I've got it set up for quilting and for applique. So for regular piecing, I tend not to use it as much. Okay, and why is this all... There we go. So I tend not to use it for piecing as much. Can I use this one? No, I probably shouldn't use it. The CS6000, which is a very inexpensive machine, it's a little finicky, so I would not suggest it for our first machine. But it is a very inexpensive machine. It's very light, compact. I use them for my classroom machines. So if something breaks, or if I do something with this one, it's actually cheaper for me to just buy a whole new one. So let me get this threaded. So I tend to use these for binding, piecing, pillows, dice bags, things like that. Very simple workhorse type of things. And then that way, if I abuse it, which I do, it will not... it would not be a big deal versus the other machine that cost me a couple $100 to fix if I break something. Alright, and I spent the morning playing with cameras, things. I've got a close view of this one. I was able to zoom in a little bit, although you are not able to turn the light off for this machine, so I was a little annoyed about that one. I actually thought about using my QC1000 for binding today, but I said no, I'll use this one like I normally do. And I also have a kitty cam. So I only have to do this. Okay, why is that not working? Is the kitty cam not working? Oh, I see what I did. Did the cat pull something? See, and I had all this working, and it was all working fine. Alright, unplug it. Plug it back in. Oh, I was doing the wrong one. Hello. There we go. Kitty cam. Alright, let's make sure that this one... Okay, that one works. That one works. Yeah, it would help if I actually chose the right thing. So it was all set up correctly. I just didn't do the right thing. So yeah, you have kitty cam now. That is Hestia. She is deaf. She is the bane of my existence. Yeah. She loves to come and lay on my machine, lay on my thing, so I have to constantly clean all the hair off. Yeah. So, that's Hestia. Say hi, Hestia. So now, the only problem is because of the studio lighting, and she is white, she appears bright like that. So I can't get it dimmed any farther for her. So, yeah, that's Hestia. Yes, we have Kitty Cam. So I'll keep her up while I'm putting the binding on, and then whenever I'm sewing the binding down. So the first step, the last step, I'll keep her on. I was debating whether on interchanging her with this cam or with this cam, but I'm like, I'm going to use this one more this stream, so I may switch it out next stream. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. So yeah, so that is the new Kitty Cam. So, let's get started. I'm going to first do the pieced quilts, and then I'll do the panel quilts for the binding. There are many ways to make binding. There is a really good Fonz and Porter video. If you Google under YouTube the Fonz and Porter binding, they show you how to make it, how to use it, how to do all sorts of things. I no longer make my own binding. I found this amazing binding. I love it so much. I do that. I don't know why I didn't know that they had binding by the roll before Spring Market. But when I was in St. Louis and I was looking through the Moda brochure for, placing my order, I saw this and I went, binding. It is binding by the roll. Let me show you that. It's by Moda. They have three different kinds of binding by the roll. They have the standard Bella, which is the solids. That's what I'm going to be doing for the panel quilts. They have the marble, which is what I do a lot of the pieced quilts out of. So this black is the same exact black as I have in my pieced quilts. So all of my pieced quilts have outlining. So it's of some kind. So I use this black. So I'll use this black for the binding. It'll really pop it, make it come out. And then the solid black I'll use for the binding, the Bella, I'll use for the panel quilts. So, and I believe there's black in all the, there's a black base in all the panel quilts for around the edges. So yeah, so I'll use black for that one as well. The way that I set up my binding by the roll so I don't have to worry about cleaning hair, it's not going to touch anything, is I use my spool holder. So this is a spool holder. If you use spools for your machine, you set it aside your machine. Your spool goes just like this. The thread goes up through here and then out through here. So I will turn it like this and then the thread will come out and feed just like here. So if I want to use this for piecing, I would set this either behind my machine like this or beside my machine like that. And then it'll feed all the thread through. But I'm going to use this a cheater for my binding. So I'm actually going to set it like this. I'm putting my roll of binding on like this so it'll sit next to my machine so I can just sit and unroll it. Now if you don't buy the binding by the roll, you can buy it by the yard. So, or the meter, depending upon where you are in the world. If your local store carries Moda products and you want binding by the roll, you can ask them, can you order me a roll of this? And it's super inexpensive. I think it's something like 75 cents a yard or something. It's so worth it. So if they don't carry it, you can ask for it and have them order it, even if they don't want to carry it as a regular basis. So that's what I'm doing. I have it sitting just like this. And I'll be feeding it off of there. Now I do the tuck method for my binding. So I'm going to be putting all the binding on, and then I'll go and pin it all, and then I will go and sew it all down. So hopefully I can get through all 12 quilts for binding in today's stream. That's my goal. Don't know if it's going to happen, but that's my goal. I've got black thread on top, black thread on bottom, because I'm going to be doing everything with black. So there's no binding today that's not going to be black. So that's how I do that. Now, like I just said, I do the tuck method. So how I do this is I find the middle of the quilt and, oh, I almost forgot. I need to iron these edges. I keep forgetting that because I've only been using, this is only the second or third time that I've used the binding by the roll, and I keep forgetting you have to actually iron this down. So what I'm going to be doing is ironing this down because this edge right here, you're going to see it's actually going to be just like this, even though I'm going to tuck it over. So this is a raw edge. You don't want any raw edges. So let me undo my thing. And all I'm doing is folding over the edge slightly and ironing it down. And I'll show you what it looks like. Marley! There must be a dog walking by. Marley! So all I did was take this edge, fold it over, ironed it down, and then I closed it, and then I ironed it again to make sure that it's a nice finish. Alright, so let's put this back. So I will have to make sure that I do that in between every single quilt. If I don't, then I'm going to have a raw edge that's not going to look good, and I'm going to have to pick the whole thing out and redo it, which is not a good thing. Alright, so first thing is the foot that I'm using. I'm using a 1/4 inch piecing foot with the guide. So this right here, this metal guide, actually allows me, if I have the fabric touching that guide, I have a perfect 1/4 inch. I don't have to worry about looking on my machine, making sure I've got the right thing, lining it up. Oh, is it good? Is it good? I don't have to think about it. It's faster. It's more efficient. All I have to do is have my fabric touch here, and I've got a 1/4 inch. So let's put that one on. First thing I'm going to do is the stitch that holds it. Okay, let's make sure I've got it all good. So I'm just going to do a few stitches to start it. And let's go ahead and trim this thread up here while I'm thinking of it. There we go. And so I have my basting stitch right here. So I just have a few stitches right here, and this is going to hold the bottom to the quilt. And that'll help me whenever I come back around and I tuck it in for the tuck method. So then this won't go anywhere. And then I'm going to start my stitches right here when the whole thing is folded over. So let's fold the whole thing over. And let's move that over so it's out of my way. Yeah, I did it automatically. I held it and let it stitch a few times. You're not supposed to do that. It actually damages your machine. But again, I'm super hard on my machines. There is a back button. You're supposed to move forward and then move back. Especially if you have a more expensive machine, please don't do that. You wear out your feed dogs. It's not good on the motor, but it's something that I do and I abuse my machines. So all I'm doing is sewing the raw edge to the raw edge with a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Same thing. I held it there, but please don't do that. Use your back button in order to do that. Alright, so, oh, hi Iron Bandsgram. I am. I saw that you guys are on your way for your quilting day, for your day of shopping with the quilt, with the quilt show. I don't know why I can't think of that. I have a lot to do today myself, so yeah, bright and early. Binding day. Make sure message me if you do your stream this afternoon for the cosplay, because I want to make sure that I host it and I want to try to watch some of it. For the stuff with your grandson. It's a really cool. It's for those of you that are watching this on YouTube. Iron Bandsgram is another quilter, so you want to go check out her Twitch channel as well. If you don't Twitch, it's a good thing. There's a bunch of really cool sewers on there. You really want to check it out. Okay, so for my corner, I've got my loose end right here, and I've got that right there. So I'm going to take this loose end and I'm going to fold it away from my sewing. So I have a nice 45-degree angle here, and I actually finger press it a little bit. And then I'm going to move it then towards where I'm going to sew. So you notice I'm holding this here, and I'm putting that there. So I now have a nice corner right there. And if you actually pick this piece up, it can go back and forth. But I want to have it laying down this way. And then I'm going to start sewing about a 1/4 inch from the edge, and then just continue on. And then same thing, you're just sewing the raw edges all the way down. I'm kind of jealous, Timmy, that you guys are going to a quilt show today. It seems like I haven't been to an actual quilt show that wasn't my own quilt guild in like forever. I think Festival 2 years ago was the last time I was able to actually go to one. A list of 20 plus yards for one quilt that's like twin size. Oh, I love Judy Niemeyer patterns. I have never done one of her quilts. I so want to do it, but it seems like I never have time to do anything for myself anymore because I'm making my commissions, or I'm designing the patterns, or getting stuff for conventions. But yeah, it's the Judy Niemeyer, for those of you that don't know her patterns. She's very bright, and well, you don't have to use bright bold colors, but they're like almost starburst type things, lone stars. There is more. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, vendor expos are fine too. Those are cool. And then the SC Guild. Oh yeah, that's awesome. See, and even the local smaller ones. I used to try to go to shows all the time, and now I don't seem to have any time. Oh, the clamshell. That's cool. So if anyone watching is interested in any interesting other designs of quilts, Google the Judy Niemeyer clamshell. It's really, really cool. Alright, so, oh, I did that so fast. Alright, so again, I'll show you again. Here is, I'm moving it away. So this is my nice straight pattern, so I'm going to move it there at a 90-degree angle from what I've done, but I have a 45-degree angle here. Finger press it, move it back, and then I'm going to start quilting. I'm going to start sewing it about a 1/4 inch from the edge. Oh, another long arm. Oh, and the Novas are nice. Yeah. I know, every time I have conversations with you, it always seems that I'm like, really want to get a long arm. Or I want to go down to the quilt store that's here in my town that allows you to take classes and then use their long arm. Man, I love this binding by the roll. I know I say this every time I do it now. But I don't have to make binding. I don't have to worry about getting the cat hair off because it's coming right from the roll. It hasn't touched anything at all, including my ironing board. This is great. And I don't think I mentioned, I stop about a 1/4 inch from the edge. And then you actually completely cut it and pull it away. Because you can't fold it and move it towards the way that you're going if your needle is still attached and your thread is still attached. Now, binding is something you can do on almost any machine. It's not like quilting where you have to worry about the motor of your machine. There we are. I need to freeze some more binding. See, I was thinking about that too. It is, yeah. I've got to talk to her about that. About with the long arming. To see if she goes down and tries out at the local store. more that you want to check out, that you want to see, she is the captain of our sewing team. It's funny, now I've got the kitty cam there now. I keep looking up and I'm look to see what the cat's doing. I am going to Dragon Con. Are you going to Dragon Con? Okay, so I'm going to show you the ending and then I'll take a look at Chad again. So I am coming close to where my starting point is. Now I said I use the tuck method, so the tuck and fold. So the first thing I want to do is take the thread and trim it from where my starting point was, because I don't want all that excess thread if I don't need it. So as I get close, so here is my edge right here. So as I get close to it, I'm going to sew right up to about an inch away, okay? And then I want to actually measure it. So here's my starting point right here. So I'm actually going to trim it about right there. So let's cut it. I'm going to cut it at an angle. That way I get more of the fabric underneath caught in there. And I'm going to pick this up. Now this is why I started the threads right there at the beginning. So I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to tuck it in right there and then continue on. And then have a couple of stitches in there. And that is it. So now my binding goes all the way through. You can see the fold right here, and that's why I made sure that I ironed it ahead of time, because this is going to be an edge that you're going to be able to see. Alright, so there's my first one bound. It is, yeah, if you're going to go to a any kind of geeky convention, that's a good one to go to. Have you been to any pop culture, video game, comic cons, anything like that before? Oh, that's right. I've got to, so now I'm going to trim it straight again. So I cut it, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to iron the edge again. And I've got enough pulled off that I don't have to actually take my roll apart and bring it over. So remember, I'm just ironing a small seam over so I don't have a raw edge. So I just took a little bit of fabric, folded it over, ironed it, and then I closed it and ironed that. Okay, Dragon Con is awesome. So it's one convention that I keep applying to every single year, and I don't get in. I don't know why. I'm waitlisted every year. It's one of the only conventions that I apply to that I don't get in. So I have a friend of mine, Fanboy Glass, that does glass etching. And he basically said, hey, do you want to come and minion for me? And in return, I'll hang your some of the quilts behind all the glass. You can have your book and your patterns. You can sell the quilts you bring. You can sell your patterns. You can sell, and you can take commissions. And I went, you know what? That seems fair. He says, and you may get noticed by the powers that be, and it may help you get in yourself next year. And I went, nice. Yes. Okay. Yes, I definitely want to do that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm actually minioning for Fanboy Glass. So if you decide to go, find the Fanboy Glass where they are, and that's where I am. Now, Monday, I've been told, is the slowest day. Is the slow. So if you're gonna go, I would go Monday, Labor Day. If you don't have Labor Day plans, because yeah, it's Labor Day, so that's the slowest day of the convention. And Sebastian from Fomore Cutlery may be going Monday as well. So he actually lives in the Atlanta area. So I was talking to him, and they're thinking about selling all of their scissors at Comic-Cons, pop culture conventions, things like that. So he wanted to go just to get the feel of the convention and see how it's gonna, how it is, if they want to vend at any of those, and not just quilt shows. So I was talking to him, and if he goes, it's going to be on Monday. And I was talking to my friends at Fanboy, and they said, yeah, no, you can definitely have most of Monday to walk around and actually see the convention and do stuff. So if you want to go, I would say go Monday, and you can come hang around with us and walk around and do stuff with us on Monday. It'll be fun. We can be all the quilt people walking around the Dragon Con. Now, the only problem with keeping it on the roll is it's starting to do this. So I'm going to have to take it off soon and unravel everything so I don't get all the loops in it. So yeah, so did I put Dragon Con on my webpage as someplace I'm going to be? I just thought of that. I don't think I've updated my appearance list. I didn't. Oh. Alright, I'm bad. I've got to do that. I'm not going to do it right this moment, though. Okay, so, yes, I'm going to update that. So, it's about a 3.5 hour drive. Oh, wow. Well, if you decide to go to Dragon Con, you know you can come and hang out with us. But you're right, there are a lot of people. There's no single day tickets? I didn't know that. I didn't know there's no single day tickets for Dragon Con. See, that shows how much I know about it. That stinks. Yeah, there's a bunch of other conventions that I do that have moved to that. So like MagFest, the 24-hour video game convention at the National Harbor, they moved to a no single day tickets. So yeah, if you guys decide to go down, we can hang out. We can have fun. And I'm staying, so Mike from Fanboy, I'm actually staying at his house too. So I've got a free place to stay. He's going to drive me to and from the convention every day. Probably going to feed me. And he's going to let me sell all my things. That's a pretty good deal in return for being a minion. Like, I don't know if I give my minions that much. Oh, that's right, because it's a sci-fi fantasy convention. So, sci-fi fantasy conventions are a little different than other conventions. They don't sell tickets, they sell memberships. So that you're kind of, it's not really, they're not corporate owned, It's the, it's like a committee that runs it and owns it, and then you become a member of that committee, so you actually get say into the convention. Yeah. I completely forgot about that. See, like I said, I've applied for Dragon Con every single year because I know all about it and I've seen all of the cool things that come out of there, but I've never attended before. Because for me, it's really hard for me to go to a convention unless I'm making money. The only exceptions to that are the spring and fall quilt market. Now, I've been seriously considering trying to get a booth at the spring or fall market one year. But I haven't decided yet. It's a lot of work to get my stuff to the convention. But the spring market is in Portland next year. So that'd be pretty cool. Alright, let me unwind my binding. There we go. Now it's nice and even. Oh, as we pie, as we pee. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to Dragon Con. I have heard so much about it. And I know it's just like a big party. And I don't party at conventions. I'm the kind of person where I work all day. I get tired. I do buy wholesale from Moda. If you, obviously you're a business entity, so you can sign up with them. They tend to only sign up for stores. They made a special exception for me. I don't know if they normally do wholesale to long armors, but you can definitely try. The minimum order is $2,000 a year, which is not bad at all. So yeah, so I buy wholesale directly from Moda. So because they do not use any kind of distributors. You can't go to Checker or Brewer and get anything Moda. But I switched all of my fabric I use is now the Moda marbles, and with the binding and with all of like the general things, like they have a new line that's coming out in the fall that they premiered at Spring Market, where it's like little animal stuffed animal things. So I decided to buy a couple of bolts, and I'm actually going to sell the panels by the bolt. So I'll sell the stuffed animals, but then I'll sell the panels as well. So if a sewer comes up, if they see my little stuffed animal, if they want to, make that for themselves, they can buy the panel from me. So there's a bunch of things that I can get from them, and not just the marbles or the binding. And I've got books, and I'm going to use all the solids from them as well. How I got hooked up with them is last fall market. I decided I wanted to try to get set up with them for wholesale because Checker's not $1,000 a month. It's definitely not $1,000 a month. I think it's $1,000 a year. No, it's for Checker. It's an initial order of $1,000, I think. So you have to buy at least $1,000 of stuff for your initial order, and then you have to have $1,000 a year. Which, with all the character fabric I get, that I definitely make that. Yeah, no, it's definitely not $1,000 a month for Checker. Because I do Checker, and I don't do $1,000 a month. But yeah, but Moda doesn't go through Checker or Brewer. And for those of you that have no clue what we're talking about, Checker and Brewer are the distributors for quilt shops and long armors and professionals like us. Yeah, so I'm actually set up with both checker and moda. Although there's still fabrics that I want that neither one of them carry. So I may take a look at Brewer and see what, Brewer. There's no minimum for Wyndham? I didn't know that. I may have to get set up with them, because Wyndham also, I don't think, goes through distributors as well. Oh, you know what? I just realized I did not change my picture. It still shows the Pokemon. You know what? Let's put my Amazon Warrior up there. I don't have a slideshow, do I? No. I don't have a slideshow. I thought I did. I can't believe I did that. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at Anthology Wyndham. If they don't have any minimums. And my machine keeps turning because I keep pushing on the table. Okay, same thing. So I need to trim this so it is straight. Unwind enough so I can iron it. Yeah, no, I would definitely get set up with checker. And, okay, yeah, for the moda, I was going to tell you that story. So for the fall market, I saw all the awesome things that they had, and I'm like, you know what? I would love to get set up directly with moda because it's actually a little cheaper than buying some of the fabrics I was getting from checker. So I went over and I asked them, I said, hey, look, this is what I do, this is where I live. So I had to sign, because I live in Canada, they do not sell to anyone in Canada. So, because they have a distributor in Canada that handles all of their stuff. So I actually had to sign an agreement stating I would not sell fabric in Canada, meaning I would not sell my quilt kits when I'm here in Canada. So I can sell the quilts, I can sell the patterns, I cannot sell the kits, because then I'd be selling the fabric. But other than that, I can do anything I want in the States. Yeah, and they're super nice. Oops. I accidentally hit that. I'm trying to think. Anthology. I don't remember their fabric. Of course I know the Wyndham fabrics. See, and shipping out of New Jersey wouldn't be that expensive for shipping. Because I would just send it to my Maryland address. Marley, stop the barking! There's a bunch of dogs outside barking. Everyone else in my house is sleeping. Okay. And that's probably why, because if I've done batiks, I'm looking up at all my batiks. I don't remember what brand they are, and with batiks you don't get the bias on the bottom that tells you the brand. So that's probably why it hasn't stuck in my memory yet. Have you decided, are you going to Fall Market in Houston? And my bobbin's out. And unlike yesterday, for this step, does not make a difference if my bobbin is out. So I can just change it and keep going. So I don't even bother checking it. Now, whenever I'm sewing, I'm doing this the third step, and I'm sewing it down after pinning it. That is when it matters if the bobbin's going to run out. And I'll just check that in between each quilt. Alright, I've got to move you a little closer. There we go. Oh, fantastic. I didn't even see that you have to jump. So, Waffle House breakfast. Oh, I love Waffle House. I love Waffle House. I bet Iron Band's Graham was watching on her phone as someone else was driving for the quilt show. So I've got to remember later to message her, or if I watch the cosplay stream later this afternoon, find out if she's going to Fall Market. Now, if it looks like my stream, I'm going to run out of time, I will make sure to show all 3 steps of doing the binding in the stream. So even though I'm doing all of the binding now, if you've watched through and you really don't care about my life, talking, things like that, and you're watching on YouTube, you can fast forward. So whenever you see me turn off that kitty cam and I turn that camera off, because then that's when I'm going to show the pinning step. Oops. Stay up. It's not the best system in the world, but it works. My little handmade stand over here. There we go. That's the only time you should ever push into your machine is if you are starting on a corner like that and the machine, the feed dogs are not touching it. Alright, let's trim this. And tuck it in. 3. Yeah, so I highly recommend getting Bias by the Roll. It is fantastic, and it is a wonderful price. It is, you know what? It is worth that small little extra cost, so I don't have to sit and make binding myself, because I hate making binding. Hate it. I know how to do it, I just hate doing it. Okay, my middle. Now, I always, if you notice, I always start in the middle on the bottom. That's just a habit that I've started to do. And the kitty cat's cleaning herself. I apologize for the rudeness of my cat. Look at that. I'm not even close to getting finished on this roll. So this roll of binding, I think I've done one lap quilt previously, because it was not a full roll. And then I've done 1, 2, 3, this is the 4th one I've done today. So let's see how many I can go through and have it disappear. You know, have it finish. So I've got 2 more Pokemon quilts after this one with this binding. Now, when you put binding on your quilts, if it's the first time, or you've only did it a few times, you're not going to go this fast. And that's perfectly okay. It took me probably a good 2 to 3 hours to put binding on when I first started doing it. But, like with anything, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Yay! The roll is starting to get lighter and lighter, so it's having issues staying on my makeshift holder. I want to go to a quilt show now. So let's cut this at the angle. Let's clean up all of the thread. And I'm going to pick the top up, tuck it in, and sew. Now there are other methods of doing binding, especially if you're going to enter it into a competition or a show. So I definitely suggest researching. I was looking at the Pokeball, making sure I did use the Moda Marble, and I did. So I can use this binding. I would definitely research. So if you're going to make a quilt and enter it into a competition, or otherwise show or something, I would definitely research the different ways to do binding. And you probably may not want to do the tuck and fold method, just because there are better ways to have it look nicer. And if it's a tie between you and another quilt, and the other quilt's got a better binding, the other quilt may win. Or get that mention, or the ribbon, or whatever it is. Went a little too far. I actually started sewing. I'm like, oh wait, that's right, hold on. I'm not actually going down through here, so I'm going to back it up and start about right there. That's annoying. I've got a little spam thing that popped up on my computer that blocked my chat. There we are. I wanted to make sure I freed enough so that I can fold it over without any problems. I've never gotten to the bottom of a roll before, so I'm having issues that I did not foresee having. Because the roll is so light, every time I unroll it, it wants to fall and go away or turn. Oops. Alright, so I have one more piece quilt after this one, and then I'll switch my binding to the Bella Basics. And I will do the solid black binding for all the panel quilts. Let's see if I go through this entire roll. So how much is on there? 40 yards. 40 yards of binding. That's amazing. I love it. Love it so much. Now the nice thing about this binding, it is bias binding. So if you are a cosplayer or sewer, or you do clothing, or you anything at all that you need bias trim, this is a single fold bias, and it is cotton, 100% cotton. So it's meant for quilters binding, but you can use it for other binding too. I know that cosplayers like to use the double fold a lot of times. But it's bias. So if you need, if you want to put trim on a skirt, if you want to put trim on anything at all, you can definitely use this. And if you want to get a double fold, well then just re-iron it. But then this way, because for those of you that are not sewers, bias means there is, I'll use this. There are different ways. So for fabric, if you're holding a piece of fabric, there's different ways that it stretches. So if I pull this way, you can see how that stretches there? And if I pull this way, there's no stretch at all. Bias is on the diagonal. So you notice how there's more stretch this way going diagonally than going straight left, right, or going this way. So there's more stretch in fabric going on the diagonal. And whenever you are using binding for clothing or for things like that, you need a lot of stretch and a lot of movement. So you need to have the fabric on the angle. Well, if you cut it yourself, cutting fabric on an angle, A, is a pain in the butt. B, is expensive. Because, let's say if you need a yard of bias, okay? If you cut it straight on, you really only have to buy a quarter yard of fabric in order to do 2 strips to combine it together. You have a yard of of binding, but it's not on the bias. It's not going to stretch. To have a yard on the bias, you have to have almost a yard of fabric and then cut it on the diagonal to make sure that you've got it. So it costs more money to make binding on your own. Now they do sell kits of binding, but man, this rolled binding is fantastic because then the kit of binding only comes in certain strips. Well, what happens whenever you only use 3/4 of it and you have a quarter left, you now have to try to combine it with another piece of binding. This way, you don't have to do that. It's a constant roll. And you can buy exactly what you need or what you want, or like I do, buy the whole roll and continue to use it. Alright, one more piece quilt with the marble binding. Yep, cat's still looking at herself. Here we are. Alright, last piece quilts. So, let's trim this. Find out straight and let's iron it. Yeah, I definitely have enough binding for this one. So, we know that a roll of binding does at least 7 lap quilts. Could be more. Now the nice thing about them doing this binding on the bias is if I have a project that I need the stretch. So let's say if I have a circular shape. Double wedding ring is a good example. If I decide to do a double wedding ring and circles along the edges, if I decide to do a scalloped edging and not have, a straight edging on there, a straight quilt, and have it more decorative, I can use this for binding because it's on the bias, so it's going to move and stretch along those curves. Wish I had this years ago. Whenever my grandmother passed away, this was right around the time that I was learning how to quilt. And she quilted for years and years. I have 3 of her quilts that she made for me. So we went through her house and we found a couple of quilts that were unfinished, that she had made quilt tops for, and she just either A, didn't finish the top, they were almost finished, or she never got around to sandwiching and quilting them. So everyone in the family said, give them to Tony. Tony can finish them, and then give them to all the family as part of, I'm like, okay, thank you. Don't you love it whenever people volunteer you to do work for them? Oh yeah, you can do this. I didn't mind though. So I ended up finishing off a bunch of the quilts, including one of the double wedding rings. And I don't remember which family member got that one. I've got the picture on my website. I think my cousin got that one. But it was one of those ones where she had scalloped edges. So the double wedding ring wasn't finished squarely, like a lot of quilts are. It had round edges. And when I made my binding, I didn't understand the stretch of the fabric. And so I made all of my binding straight on. Regular cuts. I didn't cut it diagonally. So whenever I went to bind that one, it took forever because the fabric didn't move. It didn't change. So one of these days, I will probably have to rebind that quilt. Because the fabric is not able to move, and so it has puckers. And it may wear at a faster rate. So binding, since I do it by the roll now, takes so much less time than it used to. You know what? I was just remembering. I was talking before about the different bindings that Moda has. Don't remember if I said all three. So you've got, you can get it in the marble. You can get it in the Bella Solid. I think they have a ton of different colors in the Bella Solid. And you can get it in the Grunge. The Grunge is an amazing fabric. I love Grunge. I'm not able to use it for a lot of things. Just because the color changes in the Grunge are more dramatic than the marble. So it doesn't look good in a lot of the quilts that I do. But I'm able to use it for backgrounds sometimes. I used that gray. Oh, I used it in the t-shirt quilts. A bunch of t-shirt quilts. I used that Grunge. I've got a really cool gray Grunge that I love. I'm actually, it's over there and I'm looking at it. And last side of pieced quilts. And after this, I will move on to the panel quilts. I know I should unwind all of this, but I'm almost done. There's no point unwinding it. Okay, let's cut. Let's do it right there. There we are. Alright, and I am done. Yeah, see, I still have that much left on there. So, oh wow, yeah, there's still a lot on there. I can probably get another 3 or 4 quilts out of this. There we are. Let's put that back. Oops. And here is my Bella Solid. The Bella Solid, I think it also has 40. Yeah, 40 yards. Okay, let's put that on there. Alright, let's cut that. Oh, sounds like my husband's awake. The dogs are happy he's awake. Oh. So, binding on. So it's the raw edge. All I've done is sewed it on. So that is the first step, oops, of putting binding on. You know what? My legs are starting to get a little sore. I'm going to do us out of order. So I'm going to wait on the solids. So I'm going to wait on the panel quilts. I'm going to go ahead and just pin all the pieced quilts and then go back and finish off the last step for the pieced quilts. And then I'll go through and start binding the panel quilts. And then that way you can see all of the pieced quilts when they're finished. Alright, so kitty cam's going to go off. Alright, I've got these. I need this. And I need pins. There are the pins. Pins. Oh. And a pin. There we are. Alright, so first step. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this next step. There are pins and there's also clips. So I have a bunch of clips and I'll show you how the clips work along with the pins. Very first thing you want to do, in fact, let me move this right here. Let's move this here so I can see it. So very first thing you want to do, make sure I'm doing the right side, is get all the hair, dust, and dirt off. So with the quilts, this is what's going around in the edging. This is what's going to go around the binding. Anything that you sew into here is in there permanently. It cannot escape. So you do not want any hair, dust, or dirt in there. So get it all off. Now, just because I just put this binding on doesn't mean it hasn't picked up any hair, dust, or dirt from my table and from my machine. So we're just going to do a quick removal. And then you want to take your corner and you want to pop it out. So you actually want to take your finger. Oops, I want to get rid of all those little threads when I can. So take your finger and pop your corner out. Now we're not going to touch the corner first. We're going to go next to the corner. So I'm going to take the underside of it and I'm going to pull it out just a little bit. So I'm going to pull it a little bit and I'm going to fold it over so that whenever I look at my opposite side, I can see it has a nice binding there. So you want to do that, fold it over, and either put a pin in it or take your clips and put your clips in there. Now, this is why I don't like these clips, because as I'm sewing, I have to actually remove them as I'm sewing. You know what? Let's try the clips for this one. I actually haven't used the clips for an entire quilt yet. So let's see how they work. So these clips, they didn't put the brand name on the clips. I don't remember what they're called then. Oops, that one's upside down. Now the only thing with these clips is I'm going to have to remove them as I go. Let's do it this way. So this is the first time I've tried clips. I bought them and I actually was going to use them and I decided I didn't like them because you had to remove them as you went. Now I'm just trimming that there. You know what? I'm going to move my scrap thing over here so I can pop it in there. And I'm popping the corner out because I'm getting close to it. Make it easier just to flip them all over. Have them ready to go. So this will be our experiment to see if we like this. Well, so far, pinning them on is taking less time than using pins. Well, clipping them on is taking less time than using those pins. Alright, so the next one, I'm going to fold it up, and let's get all the hair, dust, and dirt off of it. Trim my little threads. I'm going to do something new. I'm going to do something else. Let's see. Nope, nope, not that one. Not the kitty cat. Number 2. Let's do that. And that way you can see better what's going on. Now, for here, this is the corner. Okay, so I've gotten to the corner. I'm going to fold this one up. Let's clip it. And now the corner. So the corner, I'm not going to put a clip in there. I am going to put a pin in there no matter what. And you know, I just turned to the camera and started talking to the camera. I'm so used to having that on. It's the first time I've had it off. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop this corner out. I'm going to put my finger in there to pop it out. And I'm going to fold it down. So I have a 45-degree angle right here. So this is a 45-degree angle. I'm going to put my finger there, and then I'm going to pull it back so that I have a 45-degree angle right in here. And I'm going to take a pin and put a pin in there, because we want to make sure that we sew that area over with the pin in there just to make sure it's there. So again, I'm not pulling with full force because I want to make sure that my binding on the other side is a nice even length of it. So I just want to pull it to make sure that I have it all, and then I'm just folding it over. I'm not pulling as I'm folding over, I'm just folding it over. Oops, I am out of pins. I'm out of clips. Missed a piece of hair down here. I'm looking through. I'm like, I did do the roller, and I did, but I just missed one little spot. Okay, so I'm popping this corner out because I'm going to get close to it. Now, I guess I could do that, but no. I'll take it out as I go. Yeah, see, if I go right here, so these little, it has little markings on here. So if I put it right there, then right there is a 1/4 inch seam. I guess I could do that. just do it down to the 1/4 inch, and then see it's not going to hit the pin. I'd be afraid of it falling off though. I may do that for the little ones. Again, it's the first time I've used these pins, so trial and error. Trim the threads. And we're going to fold it up so I can remove hair, dust, and dirt. Okay, so I'm going to do the area next to it first, and then I'm going to make sure that corner's popped out. I'm going to put my fabric at a 45-degree angle and then fold it over. So this is now at a 45-degree angle. And put a pin in there. Okay. Well, normally the pinning takes the longest amount of time, and this is saving me time. So I do like that aspect of it. Uh-oh. Did a pin come out someplace? I have a pin there, and I have a pin there. Nope. Just a pin sitting there. It must have been knocked on there. The next quilt, I'm going to try using all the small ones and see if I like those better than the big ones. I did buy both sets because I wasn't sure. Oh. I forgot to do this, and I saw hair there, and I went, why is there hair? Because I didn't roll it. Okay, probably gonna need 2 or 3 more. Let's grab 3 just in case. And it looks like I got the right amount because I have 2 of those big clips left. Nope, I only needed 2 more. Okay, and then the corner, I'm just going to pin the final corner. There we are. And I have my quilt Oh, let's set it over here. Okay, let's try the little clips and see how the little clips are. And then I will sew them both on and inspect and see how it's going to look. You know, I'd rather experiment with the clips on quilts like this that I sell at conventions than I would on commission quilts. Commission quilts, I get a little perfectionism on them. I want to make sure that they look good. Okay, let's trim the threads from the corners. Pop this corner out. Okay, and the little ones. I'm just going to take them all out. Hopefully I've got enough little ones. Now, if you are putting a label on your quilt and you want it in the binding, this is the point where you would actually put your label on. Yeah, these little ones are tight. I like how they are. You know what? I should make some pop-ups for these clips. Like little containers. Keep grabbing it on the wrong side. Okay, I think I like these little ones better, but I don't think I have enough little ones. Oh. So I think I've got to order some more little clips. Okay, do the corner. There we are, 45-degree angle. Alright, you know, I'm going to flip them all. It's just easier for me to grab them when they're face up already. There we go. Yeah, and if I wanted to do a 1/4 inch seam, I could put them on like that and then sew right through them. Let's see how it is with me taking them off as I go. And if it's annoying for me, then I may try to pull them down and see if they stay at that 1/4 inch seam. I just feel putting them up, I have a stronger, stronger hold. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, I definitely don't have enough little ones. Oops. I don't know why I keep forgetting to do this. This is something else that I picked up at Spring Market. If I like the way these work and I decide that I want to order some more, I will make sure I tell you guys the brand name and how and where you can order them or where you can pick them up. Yep, and I am out of little ones. And we have 3 more big ones to go. Oops, I did it again. Seriously, Tony, what are you doing to yourself? Alright, so I'm going to stop right there because I'm out of clips. Let's move those over. And let's take that off. Let's sew them on. Now I am going to change my foot. I thought, oh, there it is. Like, I know I put it out there. I'm just going to use a standard J foot. I like this foot because this is clear right here and I can see exactly where it is. It also has markings on there to show a 1/4 inch versus your center. So even though I'm not going to use a 1/4 inch seam on here, I still like to see that. Alright, so how this works for binding, I'm going to do what's called stitch in the ditch. So this right here, this lining on the front is the ditch. So I actually want to take my thread and I'm going to run it right in here. I don't want to go onto the binding. I don't want to go onto the quilt. If I go onto the quilt, you're going to see the thread because it's black thread. But if I go into the binding, you're not going to see it. Hence, black thread. So I'm going to move a little slow and then speed it up a bit. And as I go, if I'm going wonky a little bit, I would rather go wonky into the binding instead of into the quilt. Because especially on the white, you're really going to be able to see it. I'm just picking it up and I'm putting them behind me for right now because I need to reuse some of these for the next quilt because I don't have enough small ones. Now, I may like the way the big ones feel versus the small ones, and in that case, I won't reuse the small ones. Okay, so now for the rest of them, I'm going to put them back, you know what, I really wish I had another pop-up. Do I have a basket of any kind in here that I am not already using? Or a bag that can sit open? No. Okay. I have all my pop-ups here. This is the pop-up that I'm talking about, medium pop-up. It is by Fat Quarter Gypsy, who is amazing. Love, 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 love them. So I've got the structures, I've just never made it. So that tells me I need to do a stream on making them. Okay. I need to toss these into something. You know, I'm going to use, this is Gypsy Quilter, which is a different company. I'm just going to use this for now. This is what I use for all of my trash and bits and bobs and stuff. I'm just going to use this for now, for these. So far, I like the way it feels. And I do not mind pulling them out as I go. Now, as I reach the corner, I'm going to go a little slowly because I want to make sure I really get it into that corner. And let's pull that pin out. Oh, I didn't save any safety pins, did I? All right, let me get a safety pin. And then at this point, this is the tricky part of binding when you get into the corners. This is how I do it. There is not enough fabric or material for your machine to have the presser feet or the feed dogs. To have the feed dogs grab a hold of it and pull it. So, did I really just lose my safety pin? I dropped it and knocked it over. So what I do is I take a safety pin. Excuse me. And I kind of put it into the end. So it's the same theory as the chain piecing, where the piece in front of it can help pull the piece that you're putting in. And I'm just going to gently guide it using the safety pin to pull it. I think these are called Wonder Clips, but like I said, whenever I finish and I decide if I like them and I want to continue using them versus the pins, I'll let you know what they are and where you can get them, because I've got to look it up to order. I just wish that they had the brand name on the clips. That way I didn't have to go looking it up. So far I like them. Oops, I missed. I tried to use them before, and I didn't like how you had to pull them as you go, because I'm not used to doing that. I'm used to sewing over my pins. You don't have to pull them as you go. They do have little markings on there. I don't know if it's got enough of a good grip on it in order to want to do that. Move that out of the way because I don't need it until I put more binding on. Let's turn this. So far, I think I like it. Alright, so I will do the second Pokemon quilt is with the small clips. And I don't have enough small clips, so there'll be some big clips on there. But I can decide, do I like the big clips or the small clips better? Now, the biggest complaint that I have using pins to secure binding is at this point, these pins are sticking out, so they kind of scrape down my arms, and it looks like a cat attacked me. So this is definitely saving skin on my arms. Okay, let's pull that pin out. Put the safety pin in to help guide. And it looks like this is the last side. Now, if I decided to put it in just like that, you can, as you can see, sew over it, and it's fine. Because it's flat, and it's meant to do that, so because it's flat, you can actually run the sewing foot over top of it. But I just don't know if it's got enough of a grip for binding in order to do that. But it does have markings on here, so it has a couple of marks. You can kind of see it in the light, where you've got a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, and 5/8 of an inch. I just don't know if I'll ever use those. Nope, I missed. My scissors are over here. Alright, so I'm now at the point in the beginning. So this is where I started. So I've got some thread here, so I'm going to trim the thread there. And I don't want to put it in my bin, my bits and bobs bin, because I've got my clips in there. So I'm going to throw it right into the trash. You know what? I may do a Sunday morning stream, 9 a.m. to 12, like I did today, and make myself some pop-ups. Oh, and I've got to tell a lady that I'm doing the weighted quilt, weighted blanket quilt on Monday. I've got to let her know in case she wants to watch me make it. Alright, so as you saw, I came down and I started right here with my sewing. So I actually came down a little bit longer and I stopped right here and I actually put a few extra stitches in there just to make sure. So let's trim the top, trim the bottom. Now comes the moment of truth. Oh, the corners look good. That works. I like that. Okay, so Pokemon quilt is finished. With the binding on, with the black Moda marble binding that I used right from the roll. So there's one quilt completely finished and ready for my label. Where am I going to put you? Let me get you out of the way. Over here. Alright, now, let me go back and just quickly finish the few over here with the big ones. So this is the one that I've got with the little clips. So I'm going to see if I like the little clips or the big clips better. And if I decide I like the little clips better, I need to order some more. Oops, one more. There we go. And now the corner for the pin. So pop it out, fold it in. So I've got the 45-degree angle. And put a pin in it. There we go. So let's see how this works. Now I'm going to take all of the big ones from the last one I just did and put them in my bag so I can use this again. Let's see how the small clips compare to the big clips. Pull my presser foot closer to me. Now, so far, the small clips seem to be less bulk, and they seem to be lighter in the quilt. Obviously, they're smaller, but it's harder for me to grab it and pull off. Put the safety pin in there. Well, right away, I think I like the clips. I like the clips better than the pins. Even though before I said I tried them, I didn't like them. I didn't give them a fair shot. Because it does seem to be faster than those pins. Even if I have to stop and pull it out as I move, as I go, I am moving at a faster pace than I have with the pins in it. The thing that I was concerned about is by pulling these clips out before I sew, because when I have the pins, I sew over top the pins. I don't pull them out as I go. I leave them in there. Now, that's not good because you don't want to sew over your pins, because you can break your needles, you can hurt your sewing machine, but I do it anyways. And then these clips, I was afraid by pulling them out as I go that it would adjust the binding and it would slip out from the back, but it doesn't seem to be the case at all. I am the first to admit that I was wrong. And I think I'm getting the handle of pulling the smaller clips The bigger clips are much easier to pull, and in fact, I can compare it right now because this side is all bigger clips. Yeah, I like the bigger clips. At least for these big bindings, I like these bigger clips. It's easier to grab and pull, and I can go faster. I almost tossed my straight pin in my bin with my clips. Alright, so let me find my starting point. Let's trim that thread. Let's trim that thread. There we are. Trim the top, trim the bottom. That is dangerously close. So in this case, I did not pull the fabric enough because the seam is actually right along that edge. Although it looks like it'll be fine, but let me just double check. Yeah, so that's another reason why I should not use those small clips. It looks like it did pull up a little bit. I'm just looking to make sure I caught it the entire way around. I did. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so big clips it is. So I may have to order some more big clips. Now, that doesn't mean that you may like the small clips. There we are. Finished quilt. Okay, so I like big clips, and I cannot lie. Next quilt. Alright, let me pull these back out, because I thought that I would like those smaller ones, but I like the bigger ones. So let me dump all those big clips back on there I'm going to use. I'll switch the camera in a moment. And let's pull out big clips out of here. Yep, that's it. Okay, so let's toss the small ones. In. Oh, great, I got them all. Alright. So, big clips it is. I think I like the clips. I think I like them better than the pins. Because the problem with the pins is A, it takes a while to get them in there, and B, as I'm using them, my arms get all scratched up. There we are. Now I need my scissors. So I'm just going to start a scrap thing over there since I'm using my scrap thing to toss all of my my clips into. Alright, let's remove the hair, dust, and dirt. Do it again from this side. Because again, if you're just joining me, all of that's going to get trapped in your quilt, so you do not want to have it there. Yeah, let's try, no, I like it doing this way. It's easier. Doesn't make a difference whenever I'm popping them out. It's definitely faster putting them on and taking them off. So, I agree. I like the clips. I know I keep saying that, but I'm actually really surprised with how much I like them. I was excited for them at first when I initially saw them at Fall Market last year for the new product. And I wasn't able to get my hands on them until the Spring Market. That's whenever they were actually released and available. So Fall Market, they were doing all the pre-orders. So they were released and available at Spring Market. So I was excited, and then I came home, tried to use them, didn't like them. I don't think I gave them a full chance, though. So I'm glad I gave them another chance for this stream. Because this used to take the longest time, was pinning the binding. And this is taking less time than normal. I am all about efficiency. Now I just need to get a pop-up for them for where they live. All right, come on, get in there. My folded over binding of where I start and stop is having issues. There we go. Oops, grabbed it the wrong way. There's a dog down here dreaming as it's sleeping. I can hear it crying. All right. And the only thing, I don't have enough clips right now to clip more than one quilt at a time. So I'll have to clip it and then sew it. Clip it and sew it. But that's fine. That's not a big deal. I'll just have to get more of these big clips so that I can clip a couple at a time. Fold the corner over. Here we are. Alright, now my bobbin thread is getting a little low, and I don't want it to run out in the middle of this quilt, so I am going to change it. And then all of those low bobbin threads I will use whenever I put the binding on the panel quilts. So I should at least get all of the piece quilts finished, and then I'll get started on the panel quilts, adding the binding on before the end of my stream. So that's good. I'm not going to get all 12 done, and honestly I didn't think I'd get all 12 done. But it's good to have goals. Oops. Apparently I hit a button when I did that. Alright, after I finish sewing this one on, I'm just thinking about efficiency. There we go, let's put it there. Before I start pinning the next one, clipping, I'm going to say clipping. Before I start clipping on the binding for the next one, I'll look up to see what these are called. Oh, hi, Doug. Good morning. How are you? I have been up streaming for 2 hours now. Yeah, I like having my pop-up bin on the right. It's easier for me to toss them in there. That out as I get it. There we go. I was a little too rough, and it was the start-stop point where my binding was. So I pulled it out a little bit. Let me just double check. Yep, I got it in. It looks good. That, you know what, that is completely understandable. It's okay, because Iron Band's Gram popped in and we had nice long conversations. It was nice. She is on her way to a quilt show today with her family. Oops. I accidentally stuck the safety pin all the way under, so it was in the plate. And then this afternoon, she's planning on streaming with her grandson. And they're going to play around with cosplay stuff and try to make him some armor. So they haven't done it before. It's going to be like a trial and error kind of thing. So I'm definitely going to try to watch that. I'm going to try to host it. Oops. Yeah, it seems like the big clips have less movement with the binding than the little clips did. I think it's because it's easier to grab and pull the big ones, than it is the little ones. I just put my straight pin in my little thing with all the clips. Knew I was going to do that. I've almost done it a couple of times before. Now, if you use straight pins to put your binding on, I normally just kind of shove it in there, kind of put the pin in. So it's the same technique, same method, but you just put a straight pin in. No, I'll dump this onto the next quilt, so my fingers will find it at that point. Alright, now I'm at the beginning, so let me trim that thread, and the bottom one got sucked in. Alright, let's take a look. And I'm just double checking to make sure. Yeah, the binding on the back definitely looks better with those bigger clips. Yep, that's good. Alright, so Amazon Warrior is done. I just need to add on my label. Okay, so let's take a look to see what those are called. Yeah, no, and that's what the first bit of the stream, I sewed the binding on all the piece. I still have the panel to sew on. And then I was going to show how I use the pins in order to put it on there. And I'm like, you know what? Here's another way with these clips. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? Let me give these clips a chance. And I love them. So now I need to look them up to see what they're called to sell everyone, because I need to buy some more. Alright, so Wonder Clips. No, these are not the Wonder Clips. So there are Wonder Clips that you can use as well. Wonder Clips is by Clover. But that's not the ones that I am using, and I really do like these. So you have that brand. Magic Clips. That's what these are called. Magic Clips. So they come in packs of 12. The MSRP retail price is $16.99 for 12. It's a little expensive. They're Taylor Seville Originals. Big magic clip or small magic clip. They're magic clips. But I like these better than the Wonder Clips that Clover has. I just think that they're flatter, they're better. Yeah, they're really nice. So magic clips. So they come in packs of 12. So I have enough big ones for one lap size quilt. So let's see how many it takes for a lap size quilt so I know how many more to order. And even though they're a little expensive, I think it's worth it because they're not going to wear out. You can use them over and over and over and over. So let's turn off the kitty cam and the main cam so you can see what I'm doing over here. Yeah, Doug, I now have 4 cameras. So I replaced the main cam on me, so it's a much better picture. So now that I have 4 cameras and 4 slots, I can set it up this way so I can have animal cams. Which I was told yesterday on the stream, that's what the people want. The people want to see my animals. The dogs aren't down here now, or else I would have had one of the cameras on the dog. Alright, so let's pop out this corner right here. And let's start adding the clips on. Yeah, I definitely like the big ones better. They're faster, they're easier to take off. Oh, and I said, when I looked up to see what they were called, I said that I would tell you where you can buy them. So, magic clips. They are available. I can buy them through my distributor. So that tells me the place to buy them is only at your quilting or sewing stores. Now, the competition one, by Clover... No, I am not using the depth marks for the application. I was talking about that earlier when I was initially doing it. The depth markings. So you have 3 markings on here, a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, and 5/8 inch. I'm not using the markings because if I need to do a 1/4 inch almost. So if I were to do, let's show you on this one. If I were going to do the 1/4 inch, I would do it like that. And I don't think that that's enough holding it. Now, it may be, yep, no, see, if I really throw it, it comes off. But if I'm gentle, like for a smaller project, maybe I can use them. And yes, I keep turning around looking at the camera. For a smaller project, I may be able to use them. But for this, that's too shallow for a larger quilt. So I want to make sure that it's got a good hold on there. So that's why I was taking them off as I was sewing it on. If I had it at the 1/4 inch, I wouldn't have to take it off. All I would have to do is just keep on sewing and then take them all off after. But because it's a lap size quilt and I'm picking it up and I'm moving it to the machine after I put the clips on, I don't trust the hold. So, like I was saying, the other clips, the competition clips from Clover, which are the magic clips, those you may be able to find at your big box stores, at your Joann's, your Michael's, in the sewing section, because it's Clover, and Clover is carried by those big box stores. But if you want these, the magic clips, you either have to find them online. I believe Amazon has them. But I would rather you support your local store, your local sewing quilting store. So your local sewing quilting store either has them, or you can ask them to order them for you. No, it definitely is a cool feature, and I definitely like it. I just can't utilize those features on this. Now, the Clover one, the magic clips, are cheaper. but they're not flat, so you can't sew right next to them, and they don't have those markings. So if you do want to utilize that feature, you have to get the magic clips. Not the Wonder ones. I keep saying both names over and over and over, so I keep confusing myself which one is which. These are magic. Clover is Wonder. I like the magic. There we go. That's correctly said. Now the only drawback, like I said earlier, is I only have enough to do one at a time. To do one quilt at a time. And with my efficiency, I like to do a couple pinnings, a couple clippings, a couple sewings. Oops. Come on. There we go. No, you don't get them for my birthday. And this is what I keep telling my parents as well. Don't get me any sewing related things because I can get them for a lot cheaper. Because I have a wholesaler, right? So I can get these for about half the price. But I appreciate the thought. Yeah, these are definitely a lot faster. If you look at my pinning stream before, the last pinning stream that I have on YouTube, where I actually do the pins themselves and not these clips, I think I am moving about 40% faster than if I have to use pins. Let's fold that corner in. We are. Let me toss those in the bin and do the corner. Here we are. So that one's pinned, ready to go. Let's put my phone all the way over here. Keeps getting in the way. All right. Now, obviously, you can't do that. So you have to go between two of the clips in order to get started. Yep, at this pace, I will definitely get all 6 of the piece quilts finished today, and I will get some panel quilts started with the binding put on. And I don't think there's any way around pinning those corners. I don't think you can clip them. Because it needs to be in there as you sew and really secure it in. No, I can't break the needle on these. And that's the thing, right? Normally, when I have the pins in there, I sew over the pins, and there's a chance I could hit them and break the needle. Not with this. Because I go too slowly on the corners with those pins. Nope, not in this case. That's one of the nice things about these clips. I don't think there's any way I can break the needle. And you know me, normally when I say stuff like that, it happens. I highly doubt that that will ever happen. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is count how many clips I was using. Now, I know I used all of them. I really do love to tempt fate. I remember I used all of them except for 4. So when I flip them out of the bin, I'll count them then for the next one, before I put them on the next one. Oh, you missed it yesterday, Doug. I swear my bobbin ran out like 3 or 4 times, like while I was quilting. It drove me crazy. I got something sticky on my finger. There we go. I need a label of some kind. That was the starting and ending point. Yep, it looks good. Alright, let me trim the starting and ending thread. There we are. And she is done. Let me double check all the binding. Making sure I didn't go beyond. See, for the binding on the back, I've got this right here, so I'm making sure that the thread doesn't go down here, that it captures all of that binding. There we are. She is done. Yeah. I know, right? To have things move slowly that you normally see go fast. There's a video I'm going to have to post one of these days that actually shows what happens with the bobbin thread and the needle thread, how it goes in and connects and stays. And it's actually how this is called a shuttlecock on the bottom, how it turns and catches and grabs it. So yeah, pretty cool. Are 2 more piece quilts that are complete, then those will be completely finished. Alright, let's count these babies. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to put them in groups of 12, that way I know how many to order. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 4 left. How do I have 4 when they come? They must have come in sets of 10 or something before. So, okay. So, oh, that's really cool. Sewing machine repairmen are really neat. I love watching all that stuff. Alright, so I have 4 of them per quilt. So I need to buy in sets of 4 whenever I buy new ones. Right. Did you ever go over and watch him actually repair the sewing machines to see the inside guts and to see all that stuff? Oh, you know what? I think I remember these clips used to come in sets of 8 before. And that's why I had 4 extras. Well, that's weird. That was a short one. Now I put these really close together because that is where my binding starts and stops. In fact, I'm going to fix this just a little bit. There we go. So I want to make sure that that really gets in there. So if I need to order these in sets of 4, I like to be able to pin at least 4 quilts at a time. So I need to buy 16 more packages to have enough that I want. Oh, so that's actually a good question. So here, I will do this one first and then do that one. All right, so if I'm clipping this area right here, so I'm going to take it and I'm going to tug it and pull it so it's already out, and I have my finger right here holding to make sure that that fabric doesn't slip back under in place. And then I'm just going to rest it right here, and that's what my finger right here is doing. So it's actually holding this binding right here in place as I then clip it. So tug, fold, hold with this finger, and then clip it in place. I know I was probably moving too fast in order to catch what I was doing. My hand isn't just sitting here. It's actually holding this binding, so it's not moving anywhere. Yeah, maybe I will try the Wonder Clips by Clover. But I really do love the way these are holding. And I'll probably stick with the Magic Clips. Nope, you actually don't have to hold the other side. There's no adhesive, there's nothing at all, see? It is all I'm doing whenever I am clipping it under is, so I'm tugging, I'm folding, and I'm holding. And then when I grab the clip, I'm actually taking this part of it and putting it against here, so it's not touching any part of this quilt at all until I let go. So I'll show you from this end. So all I'm doing is I'm going underneath and then letting go. So just having my finger right there is holding it, and these are super, super tight. It's not going anywhere. Yep, there's no adhesive at all. It's only sewing on the top, and if I have enough time, because I am running out of time, I will sew the binding on one of the panel quilts so you can see how it is sewn on. Because I've already done the first step. So, I see I've already sewn on the binding. So this is step number 2 and step number 3. And the more I thought about it, the more I think that's what you were looking for is, well, how is it staying on as I'm pulling and tugging it? Because you missed the first step. we are. Hi, Marley. Are you coming down to join me? Kitty cat sleeping. Oh, so Doug, I don't know if you saw or if you watched any of the past streams I've done. I was chatting with Cornish Miss Saucy and a few others, and I decided I'm going to show how I can do a quilt start to finish in a single day once I get the 500 followers. So, as soon as I get the 500 followers, I'm going to do a charity stream where I take a quilt, start to finish. I will do the entire process, everything, start to finish in one day with a lap quilt. And then I will collect donations, subscriptions, everything that day, and all the money that I raise that day will go to a charity. So it'll be a charity stream. And then one person that donates will win that quilt. So I'm going to start talking about it. I'm going to start doing it. I am at 85, so I'm a long ways off. But it's a good goal to get to. Oh no, Twitch. So if you look at the stream, you can actually go on the bottom. You can so you're already following me. If you subscribe, I don't have them things right now because I'm an affiliate. So you can actually, if you have Twitch Prime, if you link it to your Twitch account, I'm sorry, Twitch Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, if you link it to your Twitch account, you actually get one sub for free. And you get like other bonus things. So you get no commercials. There's a bunch of things. And then I'm actually getting emotes. So you get special emotes for my channel. But if they're not available yet, you don't get them yet. But if you look, you can subscribe either with the Twitch Prime, so it's free. So you get one of those for free. So Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime, same thing. Or if you subscribe at $5 a month, you also get access to that. Or you can go $10 or you can go $25. So the way that affiliates work is that we only give emotes. So at $5 you get one emote, special emote. At $10 you get another, so you get two. And at $25 you get 3 emotes you can use in the channel. I get enough followers, subscribers, one day I may make Twitch partner. And in that case, I can give subscribers additional things in addition to the emotes. But then I can also give a lot of emotes instead of just the one per level. So that is a good goal to have. Alright, let's trim this thread on the end. So you should actually have a little thing next to the follow. Yeah, there should be a little thing along the bottom that says, and you've already followed, so you can't follow, but a little thing that says subscribe, and if you click that, it gives you the different options. I did it again. I threw my pin in there. Dang it! Yeah, because if you subscribe on YouTube, which is great, but the only thing that I get from that is additional subscribers, which I like. But if you pay the money to subscribe on Twitch, I get a portion of that. So on the charity stream, in addition to donations, anyone that subscribes that day, that money that I get from that subscription, I'll send it to the charity. Oh, sorry, I forgot to show you before I folded it. His eyes stare into your soul. Alright, one more pieced quilt. And then I only have the 6 panel quilts to do. And I'll probably go over my stream a little bit because I'll go ahead and sew on one of the bindings onto the panel quilt. And that way, for those of you that tuned in late like Doug, hey, thanks, Doug. I love you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, whenever my emotes are available, I'm going to have 3 emotes at the 3 different levels. The first emote's going to be a sewing machine. I'm thinking about making like a loving sewing machine. So you'll have access to that emote that you can actually put in the channel anytime you want. At the $10 level, I'm going to do some kind of thread. So I'm thinking about making the thread evil. And then at the 3rd level, the $25 level, I'm going to do a needle. And I'm thinking I may make the needle kind of like mocking. So like when my needle breaks kind of thing. So you'll have access to the sewing machine as soon as it's done. It should be done in, I would say, most 2 weeks. But I thank you for doing that now. Now the only thing with the Twitch Prime is it doesn't automatically, oh hey, there's my pin. It doesn't automatically subscribe each month. So you actually have to go in. So it'll, what day is today? The 22nd. So the 22nd of the month, it'll pop open for you as available again. So you can then resubscribe again to me, or you can resubscribe to another streamer of your choice. So it's only for the 1 month. But now, just from linking your account and subscribing to someone with your Twitch Prime, you are going to get other benefits as well. So you know more commercials, a bunch of things. It's pretty cool. And of course it supports me, which I love and I appreciate. Fantastic. Did you miss my whole talking to you about what you just did? Because you may have been out and about doing all those things. Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay, so first, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And I gave you a heart, but then I realized that I don't have my actual face camera on, so you didn't see it. So I'll show you. I'll give you another heart whenever I finish this part. Now, you notice in the chat, you now have special badges. So next to your name, you'll see the star and the crown. That means that A, you are a Twitch primer, and B, you subscribe to my channel. So those are what those two little badges mean. Second thing you've done is the moment that I have emotes available, you've unlocked the first one. So the first one's going to be some kind of sewing machine and love. You're very special. So it's going to be some kind of sewing machine with love that you can use that emote in the channel anytime you want. The second level, so if for some reason, don't do it now, after I get my emotes, if you decide to pledge $10 a month, then you get the second one. The second one's going to be some kind of thread. So I'm thinking about making some evil thread. And then the third level, which is $25 a month, is going to be some kind of needle. And I'm thinking I'm going to make the needle mocking. And then also with the Twitch Prime, so not only do you have badges, not only do you have access to all that, but you now have no commercials. So commercials aren't going to pop in and interrupt my stream. You have other benefits, so if you look under your Twitch Prime, you get other benefits as well. But you do have to renew it each month. It is linked forever. But on the 22nd of each month, you have to go in and resubscribe to the streamer of your choice. So if you want to resubscribe to me for another month, you have to go in and pick me again. For the, or if you decide to go subscribe to another streamer, on the 22nd is when you can go and change that and go resubscribe to another streamer using your Twitch Prime. So it's a cool thing, and then that way if you're using your Twitch Prime for someone, you're not locked in forever. And now the only thing is you can't change it. So now you've done it for 1 month. So you can't go in tomorrow and change your mind. You'd be like, no, I want to give it to this person. You've already pledged that for 1 month. But you're not locked in. So it's not going to automatically pledge in a month. You have to go in and redo that. So yeah, welcome to Twitch Prime. Yeah, it's a really cool partnership that they have with Amazon. And you are my second subscriber. So you are super special. I can tell when I'm being consistent putting these clips on when I have 4 left. For the past couple of times I've had 3 left. Okay, so first, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Yeah, see, I was worried too. I think I mentioned it before. Oh, you're going to get a big hug. I think I mentioned it before, but I don't remember. I was also worried about picking these up and shaking these around, having the clips fall off. But I think by putting them all the way in and not just doing those edges, it's secured on there, and none of them have fallen off or adjusted at all. Like my binding seems to be perfectly fine. Why do I keep doing that? Oh, hey. It's like, seriously, Tony. Stop putting your pins in there. They're perfectly good pins. Oh, I'll get them next time. I like having my little pop-up over here, but it's too close to my thing of pins. Yes, exactly. You don't want the burr on the end. And that's the thing, is that I don't have to use the marks for this. I'm perfect. The only reason why you would want to use the mark is, here, let me pull this one off and do it. So if this was at this mark right here, so that's at the 1/4 inch mark. So I could actually go through and sew right next to it without having to take it off. Because this is flat, I'm just sewing right along the edge here. So that's the only benefit. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. I kicked it with my chair. That's the only benefit to using those marks. So I can take it off as I go. That's what you're supposed to be doing with the straight pins, and I don't do. So I can take them off. It's not a problem. But the burr on the end would definitely damage the quilt, especially with how fast I'm pulling them off. Alright, you're going on the magnet, not in the bucket. Yeah. But they rarely work. I like that. You have ideas on how to make things better, but they rarely work. That's awesome. That is fantastic. See, this is the nice thing about having a deaf cat, is that she just sleeps through everything. close enough, so let's trim the thread on top and the bottom for where I started. Now the other clips, the other brand name, the Wonder clips, I don't think that you can sew over them. I think you have to take them off as you go. I haven't used them yet though. There we are. All right. And the second Japanese wood spirit that stares into your soul is finished. So all 6 of my pieced quilts are bound, finished, ready for labels. So let's do one of the panel quilts. Oh, there it is. Looking for my binding. So let me set my stuff up again. So again, I'm using this to hold my binding. I need to cut my binding. So I cut the edge off, so it's a nice straight edge, and then I need to iron it. I'm gonna turn my iron on. Another thing I was thinking about is how you stop to pull off every clip. Still trying to think of some way the clips could come off automatically. Oh no, they're not gonna come off automatically. No, exactly. It's yeah, it'd be nice if they got pulled off automatically, but that's not going to save me enough time. Anything that I do, because of how fast I move and how many quilts I work on, anything I do in order to try to speed it up actually won't help speed it up at all. Okay, so I've got my contraption ready to go, so it can feed me my binding. While I'm waiting for the iron to warm up, I'm going to pop off this presser foot. This is my J foot that I was using to attach the binding to actually sew it on there. And I'm going to put my 1/4 inch piecing foot. So this is the 1/4 inch piecing foot that I use with the guide. So at this piece of metal right here. If whenever I sew, if my fabric touches right here, this metal, that means I have a perfect 1/4 inch. So I don't have to look at my measurements. I don't have to worry about where they are at all. If my fabric is touching this, it's a perfect 1/4 inch. Okay, so it should be warmed up. Yes. So remember, this is the raw edge of a fabric that's going to be on my binding. So I need to fold it under and iron it. So this is the edge that's going to be seen using the tuck method. So all I did was I folded the fabric over, I ironed it, and then I folded it in half, and then ironed it again. Like a fence on a table saw. Oh, yes. Yes, the fence. So you know that, so you move your fence so that you know where your cut is? Yes, exactly. Except this fence never moves. It's always there. I had to think about that. Alright, so, tuck method. 1, 2, 3, right here's in the center. I'm going to secure this down. So I'm only sewing the bottom part of my flap to make sure it stays on there. Lift up there and let's trim thread on the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to go ahead and trim the thread here and here where I started it. Alright, now I went about 2 inches, 1.5 inches. So I'm going to start sewing again right here where I stopped sewing on the bottom. There we go. And all I'm doing is the raw edge to the raw edge. Sew it straight down. And I stopped about 1/4 inch from the edge. I pulled it up. And then I'm going to take the fabric and I'm going to move it this way so that I have a 45-degree angle here. I'm going to finger press that. I'm going to pick this up and then I'm going to move it back towards the direction that I'm sewing. And then I'm going to hold it with my finger as I put it in the machine. I do not need to put the safety pin in there in order to keep it going because I'm starting to sew about 1/4 inch from the edge. So that is enough fabric and enough material for the feed dogs to grab a hold of it and move it. So don't start the sewing right on the edge. It's not going to move and it's not going to give you a nice corner. You want to start at about 1/4 inch from the edge. And I've said it a few times in the stream and before. I'm going to say it again. I love my bias by the roll. My binding by the roll. I hate making binding. It saves me so much time. Okay, so I'm stopping about 1/4 inch. And then fold it away, finger press it, fold it towards, finger press, hold as I turn and put it in. And then starting about 1/4 inch from the edge. Now once the needle's in there, then I can pick up the quilt and I can adjust everything and move it. Because it's not coming out once that needle's in there. So wind a whole bunch more. So when the video's done, Doug, if you didn't see it, because you were one of my first followers in the beginning, if you go back through the video to the point where you subscribed with your Prime, and your name and a whole bunch of little hearts will pop up in the top left corner in that box. Yes, almost all machines now have a needle up, needle down button. It's actually right here. I'll move the camera and I'll show it to you whenever I finish adding on the binding. So I just push the button and the needle goes up. You can also use the crank that's on the side. So even the inexpensive machines now, almost all have a needle up, needle down button. My QC 1000 has a automatic cutter button on it. This one doesn't, because this is an inexpensive machine. I actually have to cut the thread. I have to cut it myself with scissors. Or there's a little knobby thing here, right here, where I can lift it up and then move it over, and that actually, you're supposed to use that. That actually makes sure that you have enough thread. So when you start sewing again, it doesn't get sucked back up into the machine. My QC 1000 does not have that button because it has the automatic cutter. So I push the cutter and it cuts it with enough so it's not going to get sucked back up into the machine or unthread the needle. And the same thing with that needle button. Whenever I get started, I push the button and the needle goes down. So I'll push the button, needle up, pull it, trim it with the scissors. Now if I was using my other machine, I would just push the cutting button. Prepare the binding, turn it. So once it's in there, it's about 1/4 inch from the end, I push the needle down, and now I can let go of everything. I don't have to hold it anymore. Yes, it is all new machines now basically will stop within the needle down position. If you have a more expensive machine, you can actually go through and choose the option. So my QC1000, I have the option of stopping with the needle up or with the needle down. I like the needle down. This one, the CS6000, is automatically in the down position. You can't change it. You can't tell it that you want it to stop in the up position. It always stops in the down position. Because that's what most people want nowadays. Alright, so I'm at the very end. So the first thing I want to do is trim this thread that was at the start of the last one. And then here's my flap right here. So this is the tuck method. So this is going to get tucked inside of there. So here's where I started whenever I picked it up again. So I'm going to measure it. I'm going to lay it across. And it's going to be about right there. So I'm going to cut it at the angle. And I'm cutting it at the angle, that way more of here gets trapped in here and there's not a lot of bulk up here for whenever it folds over. So I'm going to pick this part up. I'm going to tuck that in there. That's why it's called the tuck and fold. And then move forward. I'm lifting the presser foot up just to make sure I catch that in there. And then I'm going to continue to sew over part of the area I've already sewn. And then now my binding is on, ready for steps 2 and 3. Now let me show you, let me move this just a little bit and show you my buttons. So this is standard for a lot of the machines. I believe that this layout is the minimum that you get on any Brothers or any Baby Locks. I'm not familiar with other brands, so I'm not sure, but I did have the Baby Lock people show me a lot of the things. So here is the needle up, needle down position. So it's up and down. This one is a back stitch. So how I hold it still to back stitch it, which is bad for your feed dogs, you can just push this button. So if you have a needle down and then press a foot down, you can actually go here and it backs up a stitch. This one's the automatic one. So if you wanted to sew automatically, you just push this, and I don't know in any situation you would use that, but this is the go button. If you wanted to sew at a speed without using the your foot pedal, it would go. In fact, let's play with it and see which stitch. I don't want it to accidentally do that. So yeah, it's not turning green at all. So this would turn green whenever I could actually use it. Let me go back to my stitch I was using. I use stitch number 1 on here. And then I change the, this button right here is to change the stitch length. So I always do that. So, yep, so that's the buttons on my machine. I can't show you, and then here are the stitches that are available for this machine. So I can't show you the QC1000 because it is a touchscreen computerized, so the camera actually glares away and you can't see anything that's over here. So lighting and cameras and glare, oh my. So back to where I've got it. Fantastic. Oh, Yep, and the cat is staring at the dog because the dog keeps growling and barking at the cat because he wants the cat to play with him. Lovely. Right. Hi, Marley. I'm done. Do you want to come be in the camera angle? Come here. Come here, Marley. Come here. All right. Here's a good boy. He's a good boy. All right. See, I'm done sewing for the day, so you can come up and look at the camera. You're a good boy, aren't you? You say hi? Say hi. Hi, Soleil. Are you jealous because you weren't in yesterday's stream at all? All right, come here. Up. Come here. Come here. Up. She's stretching. Come on, up. Up. Come here. Come up. Good girl. All right, that's it. Let's sit. Sit. Look. I know. The feed, Marley and Soleil. So the feed dog is the piece below the table surface. Yes. So this right here is the feed dog. So these little pieces right in here, it grabs the fabric and moves it forward. Whenever I free motion quilt, I actually drop those. So it doesn't move the fabric forward at all. You do that on your own. I know. You're so excited, aren't you? I know, and you're a good girl. All right, so let's get the yarn. And I'm done sewing for the day. So I don't have to clean all the dog hair off of me. So that's it. That's the stream today. That's how you bind quilts. So thanks for joining me, everyone. I'm going to try to pop in Iron Bandsgram's channel later this afternoon whenever she's doing the cosplay stuff with her grandson, because I really want to see that. So I'll be on Twitch, but I'll be in her channel, so I'm not going to be streaming. And I'm probably going to host her channel. So if you want to watch it, you can come and watch it on my channel if you want. Yeah, so that's the day. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. I love you. And as always, this will be up on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it anytime you like. So have a fantastic day.